All right, guys, welcome. We are here in Phuket, Thailand at Coach's event, but we have a very, very, very special guest for you guys today. Somebody that has been in this space even longer than I am, who was mining Bitcoin when it was just $1. Somebody that I find incredibly intelligent and I learn a lot from, and I'm super glad to bring him to you guys today because if you're feeling like most people today, you are probably terrified at what's going on in the crypto markets and Bitcoin, but we are here today to tell you why this is happening and what you can expect. So guys, please welcome the man, the myth, the legend, DavinciJ15. Davinci, welcome.
Thank you for having me on, man. It's a great pleasure to be here, man. I'm in the pipe 5x5 here in Thailand. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. It's an honor to have you here. So Davinci, for those of you who don't know your story, can you give us a little bit of a background about, how long you've been in Bitcoin and maybe what you were doing beforehand that led to kind of a perfect evolution into your story in Bitcoin?
That's a great question. Well, I started doing my YouTube channel back in 2008 because I realized that our financial system was a big fraud. It transfers wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich through inflation and taxation, of course. It is a horrible system, the worst system of money that we could possibly have. And I wanted to tell people about it. I remember telling my parents and my family members, they thought I was crazy. And in fact, this system was a perfect system for the banking system because they know that most people who did figure it out would be considered crazy. Because who would believe that you're getting robbed by the banking system and government?
And your government. The one that you trust so much.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody trusts your bank, everybody trusts your government, but they're the ones who are robbing you completely, blindly, without you even realizing it. And so I wanted I knew that most people would ignore me, but some people would watch and learn and actually save themselves. And so I started talking about how to save yourself from this financial system, which will come to an end because you can't, any fraud that comes in our system, any fraud comes to an end eventually, and this will come to an end. So in order to protect yourself from the end of the fraud, you needed something solid and tangible, which was gold and silver at the time, because that was the only other thing that's real, that had value, that was always, whenever we collapsed the system, always was come back, would use gold and silver. Well, through my time, I learned about the monetary system, and I learned how it worked, and I also learned history of money. Then somebody said, Davinci, what do you think about Bitcoin? So I went to the website, and I thought, okay, they're making their own money, and I'm like, well, I know that that's impossible because I'm a software developer, and that's been a challenge for the software developers to create a system where you have a digital asset that cannot be copied. So if I give you a copy of a movie, how do I know I didn't give it to her? Right? Or anybody else, right? You can't do that. A digital asset can be copied a million times.
Yeah.
So how could you make it so that it was not copyable? Well, Satoshi found a way, and thus he created Bitcoin and making it possible for money to exist on the internet. And I thought, oh my God, I found this at $1. I'm like, this is going to revolutionize humanity. So that's how I got started into Bitcoin.
So you discovered it at $1. Mm-hmm. Light bulb went off, and then what'd you do?
Well, then I started doing more videos and slowly, and everybody started hating me even more. They were like, oh, this Davinci's lost his mind. I don't know what's wrong with Davinci. He's crazy. He keeps pushing this shitcoin.
Magic internet money.
Internet money. They actually called it a shitcoin back then. That was the first shitcoin. But I kept pushing through. I even promised my viewers that if anyone who bought $1,000 worth, I would guarantee their money. So that if Bitcoin went to zero, I would pay them back the $1,000. A lot of you are skeptical. A lot of you don't believe in the Bitcoin system, and that's fine. You can stay on the sidelines, but if you really, really want to become wealthy in the future, I would suggest you take $1 frickin' $1, buy some Bitcoins, put it in a goddamn wallet, put it fucking away. Okay, I'm sorry for swearing, but you know what? It's just $1. Get some Bitcoins. Put it away. Goes to nothing. Who cares? Right? You only spent $1. Right? You'll get a million Satoshis for $1. Right? And the way I see it, that will be worth $1 million just for inflation once Bitcoin gets to where it's going to be.
I wish I knew your channel back then.
So 1,000 of Bitcoin, yes, guaranteed.
You obviously bought some back then at $1.
Yes, quite a few, but actually I couldn't buy enough. And so what I started doing was mining Bitcoin back in 2011. I actually, my mining operations went up until 2013 when I gave up the mining operation, and I realized it wasn't as profitable as mining myself. Not profitable in dollars. Keep that in mind. Mining is profitable in dollars. Yes, it is very profitable in dollars. It's not profitable in Bitcoin, meaning that you could buy 1 Bitcoin today, or take that same amount of money and put it into mining equipment. Well, that mining equipment will not make back that 1 Bitcoin. That's why I point out to people. And so people say, no, it doesn't. Look, if I get my equipment today and I start mining today, I can make it back. Well, hold on. Oh, you think you're going to get the equipment today? Or you're going to get it in 6 months?
Yeah.
Or longer.
Yeah, you can't get a new ASIC off at Walmart right now.
No, you cannot.
How long did it take to go from $1 to like, where was the next kind of like run up after $1?
Well, it went up.
Or did it come down after that?
Actually, I bought it at around $1 and I was mining. I was averaging about 35 Bitcoins in the earlier days per day. And so it was really difficult to buy because the only exchange was Mt. Gox. And I didn't trust it too much. So what I did was I put out an ad in back then wasn't Kijiji, it was actually Craigslist. Yes.
Yeah, Craigslist. Yeah.
And I was buying from anyone who's willing to sell to me on the street. And so I was buying Bitcoin all the way up to $32. That was the run up back then. And I bought the top, $32 top. And I watched Bitcoin go down all the way to $2 in December of 2011. And I was still buying, and I was still mining, and I was still part of that community, trying to build my own pool and everything at that time, and still 100% for it. I actually wanted to sell some of my gold when it was at $2 to buy Bitcoin.
So how did you feel? Like, I think it's important for people to understand. You know, I'm sure that feeling of going from $1 to $32 was mind-blowing. 32x is incredible by anybody's standards, including the best of the best on Wall Street. That's mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. So, and everything that we knew before crypto, that just wasn't possible, really. Like, I mean, rare, super rare. So you have this incredible happiness, and you're just like, I was right. Boom, went up, and then all of a sudden, you know, and you're telling everybody from your channel, exactly. Man, what I call this 32x, what? Yes. And then everyone's like, and then it just boom comes crashing down to $2. Everyone's like, you fucking idiot! I told you it was gonna crash. Or did you feel like you were wrong for a second?
No, I didn't think I was wrong, nor did I actually like boast that I was right, because I knew that it could crash, because you know when prices go too high, too fast, they will come back down to earth, and so. I was okay with it crashing because I knew that price was not the real price. $32, that's not the real price, right? It's well over $1,000. And I remember telling people, yeah, it's gonna pass gold, and they were like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Were you anticipating what the price of it might be in the future one day?
Of course I was. I mean, everybody was. Even the people when it had zero value were talking about it being $10 million, right? So. I was thinking it was going to be well over the price of gold, and I thought even more, right? I didn't say $10 million like Hal Finney, who rest in peace, right? He was the original guy who was helping to develop Bitcoin. I knew it was going to be a lot because it was going to have to be, in order for it to be money, it has to have a massive valuation for Bitcoin. And it doesn't matter that, you know, there's 21 million, because a lot of people say, oh, how can you have money when there's only 21 million units? Well, it's a digital asset. It's divisible to unlimited amounts of divisibility. By allowing banks and entities to allow you to borrow against your Bitcoin, borrow against your assets, because then they could sell that into the market. They could take possession of it and sell it in the market, because what you don't know when you give these third-party companies.
Interesting. I never even thought about that before.
Yes. What do you think? Well, when you give these to the third-party companies, they are legally only bound to give you the dollar's worth back, not their Bitcoin.
But that would be different than like. So you think that because we've seen news recently of like I think Silver Bank and it's one of the other huge institutions that were doing collateralized Bitcoin lending, and that's maybe different than like Nexo and Celsius's approach, right? They're hopefully they're benevolent. Hopefully Nexo and Celsius are doing good things. But
probably, but what's going to happen is that they don't have to convince every single company to sell your Bitcoin into the market. All they have to do is liquidate enough people down so that you would be liquidated around the $20,000 mark, which is most people are around, is where the liquidation has. So that's what they're probably going to move the price down to, the 21,000, to liquidate anyone who's used these systems, right?
Shit, that's scary.
It isn't malicious. It's useful. It's just, it's a double-edged sword, right? Mm-hmm. It allows the banking system to move the price and manipulate the price a little bit.
Yep. If they crash the price down hard enough to liquidate you guys, they don't actually have to sell the Bitcoin. They could just say it was sold to protect the loan, and then shoot the price back up, and then their Bitcoins, they just took all your Bitcoin.
Yes, exactly.
Fuck.
Yeah. So they get the double winner around that one, because now they get to suppress the price in order to confuse people, and then they get to buy the Bitcoin at the lower price.
Yeah.
Right? So there's several ways they can grab your Bitcoin, not just from your lending operations, but also people who are trying to get interest on their Bitcoins. They're actually, by getting interest on their Bitcoins, they're actually lending it to people who are actually going to sell it into the market, because what are they going to do with it?
Do you think Nexo and Celsius have been doing anything like this?
You'd have to do your own independent investigation in order to find that out. But that's what I would estimate what they would be doing, right? So if I was the banks, that's what I would do. Yeah. I mean, if that's what I would do if I owned the banks and I printed money, hello, because you're just printing money. So even if you're wrong, even if you have to pay somebody out, you're paying them with printed money.
Yeah.
Right? And so you could always get that money back by printing even more. I told you, everybody on my YouTube channel, that back in 2020, when they fired up the printing press and money printed go brrr, that doesn't cause the inflation right the next day. No, it takes 12 to 18 months. We're here. Now, it's too late. If you're waiting for more price inflation, you're going to wait, and that's going to be too late for you to do something. You have to do something now. Even now is a little bit late to the party in order for you to protect your assets, because it's going to get worse. It's already bad as it is, and it's going to get worse. So you might want to come up with a game plan.
All right, guys, that's it for our interview with DavinciJ15. I hope that you learned as much as I did. Well, in summary, it seems like the best strategy would be dollar cost averaging. This is kind of what I've always been suggesting for every time that you're looking to enter into a market, or even on the way up when things are appreciating, to take profit along the way up, dollar cost average out of the market, in or out, because it is impossible to time the bottoms or the tops. So while Bitcoin is $29,000, $30,000 today, potentially it could drop lower. Potentially we could have, we don't know. The markets are very uncertain. We could see it go as low as $20,000, $25,000. And if you started buying today at 30,000, you might have thought to yourself, oh, I wish I would have gotten in when it was 20 or 25,000. But that's why you dollar cost average in, because if it doesn't go down that low and just continues to go up, well, then you missed your opportunity to get in at a sub $30,000 Bitcoin level. So this is what I will be doing, continuing to dollar cost average into the market. If you're not following Davinci already, go ahead and do that, DavinciJ15 across all of the social media channels, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.